Hello, Engineering 2. This is Mr. Lun, and we're going to talk about assemblies again. So, we just made the selfie stick, if you remember. Hopefully, you remember that. And that type of assembly is the most common, mostly because of how 3D CAD softwares have worked in the past. But Fusion, or you'll still hear some people call it Fusion 360, actually introduces a whole new method on how to do it, and I've talked a little bit about it with you guys. So the traditional method, like what we've done, what you've seen, is what you call bottom up, and that's when you have files and you bring them into one file later and use the joint tool to put them together. Fusion 360, as far as I know, it is the only CAD software that does this. It offers a new method called top-down. So, what we want to do is we're going to make 3 construction blocks. You guys already have those blocks made, but what we're going to do is actually make them again. A little modeling practice, and we'll use it as not an experiment, but a chance for you guys to see what is top down. And just so you guys know what I'm referencing like drawings over here. We're going to start by making the arch block. So the big thing here, normally we just press sketch and start going. Well, first things first, we should do construction block assembly. There you go. So normally we would just press create sketch and just start going, but instead what we want to do here is actually right here, new component, and just press, we're going to name this arch block. And now you'll see here we have a box here that is named arch block. Right now there's nothing because we haven't made anything. And you also notice up here it was just 1 box, now it's 3. That means assembly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sketch. We'll start right here. And to make this arch block, I'm just not going to take too much time. Its depth is 2.25, and its height is 1 inch. And done. If you don't know how to do that where you can just type in the numbers and switch to the other side. And when you press tab, it actually switches to your other dimension. Now I want to just make the circle, and just to help you guys know what I'm doing, so when I hover over here, we've talked about the triangle before, means the middle. The arc is just right in the center, so I'm just going to hover till I have that triangle, make a circle, and it has a diameter of 1.5, and from here we can honestly just be done. But what I'm going to do just to make it look a little cleaner, I'm going to press T. That's the trim tool. It's a little thing of scissors. It just means cut the line. From there, I'm going to press home. We need to make this 3D, so I'm going to do extrude, and it is 1 inch wide. And there we go. That is the arch block. Now, what we're going to do, so this is the important part. You're going to mess yourself up if you do not do this next part. So right here, the dot is filled in. We want to move up to the top here, and this dot is not filled in. So we're going to click up here. And now we're going to press new component again. The next one is going to be the triangle block. And let me look at the drawing really quick. So what I'm going to do here is just create sketch. We can actually use the faces on here even though they're 2 different blocks. And And what I'm going to do here is just kind of draw a triangle out, and I'll worry about dimensioning in a second. Make sure this is fully made out. The bottom dimension is 1.125, and this dimension is 2.25. And one thing I notice, all three lines are black. Just keep in mind when you have a right triangle and you define two sides, the hypotenuse, the long leg, can only be one size. You do not need to put a dimension here, or else rather, if we try to, Fusion will tell us, what are you doing? We're going to finish this, press OK. Once again, we want to make it 3D, so we press extrude, go here, we're going to drag this 1 inch over. And once again, remember, make sure you click up here. And we're going to press new component again. We're going to name this one. Pretty sure it is tall block. It's, yeah, tall block. And press OK. And from here, let's give you, in Google Classroom, you'll see the drawing, but you're going to notice the really only measurement we have here is that we're told it is 1/2 inch from this edge. So what we can do is actually click here, press create sketch. It's going to spin us around. And this block is honestly rather simple. I'm just going to make a block here. Its height is 3.5 and the depth is 1.125. Yep. So one thing you can do here is, there is another way we could do this. What I'm going to do instead is, instead of profile plane, I'm going to press offset. This way is positive, this way is negative. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say offset. The distance was negative, not negative, it was 1/2, but we're going to do negative 1/2 instead. And it actually puts our block 1/2 inch to the left. And this is 1/2 inch, so negative 0.5, 1/2 inch thick. And we're going to press OK. And once again, just click up here, and we have our assembly. It does not look exactly like the one in the drawing. In all honesty, I could not find Project Lead the Way's drawings to see exactly what they wanted, but it's close enough, and this is honestly all I'm really looking for you guys when it comes to actually making the assembly. So, and one thing that I want you guys to think about or know, so the reason why this is different is because we made everything within the same file, yet if we wanted to, we could go in here and just edit all these blocks inside this drawing, and there would be no like weird errors happening. It just functions. That being said, one thing we want to do is we actually want to assign a material. So right click on any block, it doesn't matter which one. For some reason mine is closed out. And you're going to click the, it's not even showing up for me right now, so I have no idea. Right click, physical material, and this should pop up. In our case, I think I'm just going to say cherry, make our lives easy, and just literally click on this, drag this, drop it on all three. And now we've assigned these pieces as wood. Fusion, frankly, does not look super great as wood, but you know, and for any purposes that we will ever need, it is wood, and this can actually do calculations for us like volume, mass, stuff like that. And if it doesn't know what material it is, it won't be able to actually tell us the correct materials. Now, what we're going to do is actually make a specific drawing called an exploded view. So you're going to click the design here, and you're going to click animation. And generally, all we're doing here, so we're going to click on the transform arrow, we're going to click manual explode, we're going to click on this, click the trail, and we're going to click this top one right here. So we're just going to send it up a little bit. My mouse has been really messy. I don't really understand why. Just shoot it up and make sure the tail is on and press OK. Then we're going to do it again. Manual explode. Click here. And we are going to click here. The tail's already on, which is nice. Oh, I still have... I think I had that one highlighted when I pressed it. That's my bad. Tail. Drag this down. Click on the other out arrow. We're going to send it out. Press OK. And then manual explode up. And we're just going to try to make it so they're roughly the same, like at the same spot. And this is all you really need to do here. We're never going to go that in depth with what the animation stuff is. One thing that can be really nice, so if we go back here and press the play in the bottom, it actually shows like the movements you made. And this can be really nice if you're making like a commercial for a piece. But it's just something that's kind of cool. In our case, we actually need this for our engineering drawings. So now we're going to press animation, click on drawing, and we're actually going to, normally we've always pressed from design, but we're actually going to press from animation. We need to save this, block assembly. Now this is the same thing we've always seen. Instead of from scratch, your title block should just pop up here. And we're going to press OK. We're going to just let this load. And now, just like when we made drawings before, one thing you just see the exploded drawing we just made on here. We just click it down somewhere in the corner, right there. Press OK. The only thing I forgot is make it so it's lines instead. You can kind of move it around, make it look nice. Now, what we can do, so a proper engineering drawing, when there's an assembly, you actually need an exploded view. Just to make sure that you show off all the parts and where they are when it's assembled. That's the way we do the trails. Just by looking at this, you understand this triangle block is supposed to be right here, and this block is supposed to be down here. But what we can do is we can press base view, and it gives us the normal assembly. So what we're going to do is click this down right here, press OK, and this is just what we've done before. You click on projected view, click on this, and you can just top view, right view, and isometric. This is the standard when you have an assembly. This is what the first page should always look like. You have the exploded, you have the multi-view. Now, you do need some dimensions, but you really only need to specify like the location of where the blocks are compared to each other. So in our case, we're saying this block is 1/2 inch from the edge. That's really all you need to put for this one, dimension-wise. Now, we're going to press the tables. We're going to do a parts list. So this will literally give us a list of all the parts in the drawing, the materials they're made out of, and it will even label them for us. And what we can do is always just try to make this look a little nicer. Try to keep everything within the box if you can. And one thing you'll notice here is tall block is number 3, and it is made out of cherry. 2 is the triangle block, it's made out of cherry, and 1 is the arch block, it's also made out of cherry. And this already by itself makes you look very professional. There's one more thing we need. So we need to just specify, make a text box about right there, put in caps, and it should be, if I can find it, do not see it, but all tolerance we're going to say R 0.1. So this symbol right here, we click on it and there's the plus or minus. We should put that before the number, my bad. Plus or minus 0.1 inches. And we're gonna say that parts are adhered with wood glue. So now this is pretty much perfect. There's really nothing else we need for this page. We have the exploded view, we have the multi-view, and in our case we really only needed to put a single dimension just so we know the position of that block. But even then, in our case, it is aligned with the edge. There's an argument that we don't even need this block. The triangle block, we don't need anything because it's laying on this edge. It's perfectly on the other edges. There's no way to mess that up. And we have to put these notes here. So if we didn't put this here, we'd have to put tolerance notes on every single dimension. And in the real world, most of the time you have to, unless everything's being machined by the same machine. But in our case, if we're just going to say that all our blocks can have a tolerance of plus or minus 0.1, and it'll work just fine. And we want to specify that our intention is to glue them together with wood glue. So this is kind of tying together almost everything we've done, from 3D modeling to drawings to tolerance to how do we put things together. And the reason why is because as an engineer, especially a mechanical engineer, you need to know all of that because you're designing these blocks, these systems. Ignore the message. But yeah, so you need to understand all of that, because when you send this off to someone to be made, they need to know what you're intending. They need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. The next thing we're going to do, so when you have an assembly and you're making drawings for it, we actually need to make more than one page, which is not something you guys have done yet. We're going to press the quick add. We just get a blank page. So from here, it's honestly not that hard. You press base view, and we're just going to click this down and change this to 1:1. It looks really big, but trust me, it's fine. Now, what we need to do, so we see the 3 blocks here. We only want to do one at a time. So we're just going to click off the triangle block and tall block, and we're left with just the arch block. And now it's big, but now where to go? There's plenty of space to make our multi-view. First things first, there is a circle, so we're going to make a center point. And then we're going to click on dimension, and this is just like we've done before. Just make sure every main dimension is there. We'll put this one here. And then we'll just dimension this right here. So one thing keep in mind, we should do our best to keep at least one dimension on every face and every view. So just to make it look better, I'm going to place that one up here, the 2.25. Then you just press next. You're going to press base view, click it down, change it to 1:1, press OK. And now we're going to leave just the triangle block. Base view, now projected view. And actually, I think something I forgot on the other drawings as well is the shade in the isometric. I forgot it here. And I forgot it here. So now what we're going to do, let's give ourselves a little bit of space. And there is no hole, there is no circles, we can just dimension. So I'm going to dimension the height, 2.25. I'm going to dimension the depth, 1.13. And then dimension out the width of 1 inch. And then one more. Base view. Click it down, change it to 1, and I didn't press OK yet. And then now we just want the tall block. Projected view. Click, click. Definitely did not get myself enough room. Maybe there's not a good way to make that one look. Oh, my fusion is lagging. There we go. Double click on here and make it shaded. Did I do that over here? Thank God. And we're pretty much done. We just have to do our last bit of dimensions. Let's do the height, 3.5, the depth, 1.13, and then the width of 0.5. So this is supposed to be an easier example of what is top down. That's when you build everything inside. And just how, as an engineer, how do we make drawings for multi-part assemblies? Or really just assemblies in general. Your first page always looks like this, where it's a multi-view of the assembly, and to any dimensions that need to be there to explain where are each block. If it can be easily explained just by looking at the edges, like there's no way to mess that up, then you don't need to actually put any measurements. Like I said, for here, it's honestly a debate on whether we need that or not. That being said, we'll keep it just in case. You can never go wrong with having one too many dimensions than having one too few. You need to have the exploded drawing to show like where they are. So especially if you have stuff like screws, that can be really hard to see. If we had a screw on the back side of this, there's no way for us to know in this drawing. So that's where the exploded drawing would come in handy, where that screw would actually, you'd see it like off on the side, and that it's going into the back. There is none here, but that is an example of why this is important. The parts list, just so everyone knows which part is which, and what material is it made out of. And then obviously this is our last note. When we want we want to make sure you talk about the tolerance and how are they being adhered, how are they being put together. Remember, we talked about multiple ways we can do that, and you need to specify it. And from here, you just save, block assembly drawing, save, and say, genuinely, there's not much more for us to do. We just need to press export PDF. Make sure that says all. You can do open to make sure it looks right and just press OK. And honestly, this should all be fine. And here's my PDF. This is actually what I'm gonna be asking you guys to submit in Google Classroom. So we have our main drawing, the arch block, triangle block, and tall block. The only thing that you might want to add is maybe add text in each drawing saying which part it is, or even if you did like a bubble letter where it says 1, 2, and 3, so it matches with these. That being said, also, if everything's going to be numbered, a good rule of thumb is just to follow these numbers. So the arch block is 1, triangle is 2, and the tall block was 3. You just want to make sure it's easy to identify, like what drawing is what. In our case, we had it pretty easy where each block has a very unique look. And then in Google Classroom, this is what I'll be asking for you guys to submit. If you finish this, I will ask you to actually try doing bottom up with the construction blocks you already made. If you are finishing this as class ends, the extra part is only, I'd say, extra credit. Well, so I hope this helps out. If you need extra help, just make sure to ask more questions. If you can, try to ask some of the people around you, see if someone's like pretty much done or they're past where you're stuck, and see if they can help you out. If no one around you is able to help, just ask me, and hopefully we can get it cleared up very quickly. And